Hi and welcome to InstaSuite. In this training video, I'm going to show you how you can use your own domain name via domain mapping. So right now you should be able to see the dashboard for InstaSuite. So if you want to set up your own domain name for your funnel or for your website, all you have to do is just click on current site in the top right corner. And if you only have one website here, you can set up multiple ones depending on the level of access that you have. But if you do want to use your own domain name, all you have to do is just click on the site. For example, I'm going to select SendRanker. From here, it's now going to select SendRanker as the current site. And under that, I can just click on it again and click on Edit Website. From the Edit Website here, you're going to see that you can set up your own domain name. Now, there are two options for this. First is you can set it up as a root domain or the main domain, for example, mydomain.com or yourwebsite.com, or you can also set up a subdomain. Now, the subdomain feature is great if you have your own content on a different server. Let's, for example, yourdomainname.com is going to be your main website, and you just want to use InstaSuite as a membership platform, right? So, in which case, you can separate a subdomain from your main site. So you have yourblog.com, for example, on a different server, let's say in WordPress, and you can set up a subdomain called members.yourdomain.com, and that's going to be an InstaSuite. So yes, you can use the same domain as long as you can set up a subdomain under that. All right, so a big difference between a subdomain and a main or a root domain, as you can see from here. Now, in my case, for this one, this was set up as a subdomain, right? So if I go to go.sendranker.com, this is going to be InstaSuite, but if I go to sendranker.com, there's going to be a different website altogether. All right, so I do hope that's clear on the difference between the domain and the subdomain, in which case you select whichever one you would like to set up. Now, the main point here is how you can point your name server or how you can point your domain to our name server. All right, so there are instructions here, as you can see, for subdomain mapping. This is going to be the same instructions for the subdomain, or for the domain rather, as well, but the difference is going to be the IP address that you're going to be setting up. Right, so on the domain part is you have an IP address of 45.33.84.103. Now, depending on how when you're watching this video, the IP address here might have already changed, especially if we moved to another server or have renewed the IP for a different one. All right, so again, just check whatever IP that's going to show up here under the instructions is the most updated IP address. All right, now to set up a domain name, all you have to do is just follow the instructions here. First is you need to create an A record under the domain DNS zone. Now, we're gonna do both on today's call and give you the difference or the different ways on how to do it. So I'm gonna log into Namecheap. So we are assuming that your website is going to, your domain name rather, is going to be on Namecheap. If you do have GoDaddy, if you have your domain on HostGator or any other domain register, it's basically the same process. Just log in to your domain account, not your cPanel or not your hosting, your domain account where you can renew or register and also register new domains. In GoDaddy, you usually have you can go to just, I think, myaccount.godaddy.com. Right, so from here we can see all of our domain names listed. So we're just simply going to select a domain name that we want to change from here. So let's say, for example, I do want to change, let's say, leadspinner.net. So all I have to do from this is just click on manage, and under manage, under the domain section here, I should be able to create an A record. All right, now depending on what country you have set up your account with, either you can have it under domain or you can have it under advanced DNS. The DNS part is going to be where you need to put the A record into. So as you can see from here, all we have to just click on add new record, select a record, put in the host as at, and put in the IP address that we were able to get here. Right? You can set the TTL or the time to live as automatic, or leave it manually to 14400, but you can just leave it automatic here so that you don't need to worry about that, and just copy and paste the IP address. All right, so let's say I'm gonna put that here. I'm gonna copy it, paste that here, and click on save all changes, and that's gonna be saved. Now please do note that if you have any other A record here, you need to delete that if ever this doesn't work, because sometimes if you do have a different A record, especially, that means it's gonna clash with other settings that you might already have there. So yeah, just give it a try, and of course give it around 24 to 48 hours to update the DNS. So that's how you set up a root domain name. Now, if you're going to be setting up a subdomain, the changes is a bit more different. Now, instead of having an IP address, remember that this is going to be a domain name under, this is going to be under a subdirectory or a subdomain name. So instead of just putting in an IP address, you just need to put in the destination to. Now again, this differs from one website to another. Usually it is going to be the site name, as you can see from here, SynRanker and SynRanker.instasuite.com. So usually it's the current site.instasuite.com. So just instead of the IP address, just copy this, go back to, again, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be under the same DNS section, but the big difference is you're not going to set up an A record, but rather you're gonna set up a C name. Now let me show you how to do that. Now earlier we did an A record. If you click on add new record here, there's an option here. Instead of A record, there's an option here for C name record. So we will put that there. There we go. And I just need to put in the host. All right, so again, the host can be just an @ sign, especially if you're going with HostGator, GoDaddy, and Namecheap. And the target is gonna be the destination link here. So just copy this, paste, click on the check mark. You can leave the TTL as automatic, so you don't need to set it up. And within 24 to 48 hours, usually it takes a bit earlier, you should be able to access your site using your subdomain as well here. So yeah, that's pretty much it on how to set up the subdomain and the main domain. Now, again, something that we did encounter before was that make sure once you have set up your domain register to point to our name server, so point out to our DNS, make sure to select the proper domain mapping setup here. Either you set up a main domain or set up a subdomain, and just make sure to click on save site here. Otherwise, if you still have set this up and you did not select the domain mapping procedure here, then it's not gonna work. So again, make sure to select either a root domain here. If you're a root domain, again, it's gonna be like synranker.com, and a subdomain is gonna be like go.synranker.com. So go is gonna be, or members dot is gonna be a subdomain. And again, click on save, and those settings will be updated within a few hours.